In high school basketball, we have some heroes and we have some villains, and today I'm just here to tell you the top 5 most hated players of all time. I think it goes without being said, we all love an underdog story and rooting for the nice guy at the end of the day. But however, today we're not here for that. We're going to be talking about 5 of the most hated high school basketball players of all time. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. I actually think this is a very interesting topic and a great video idea, so if y'all want to see a part 2 to this video, let's aim for 1,000 likes. The top 5 most hated high school basketball players of all time. Let's do this. Coming in at number 5 on our list, we have Trey Young. Trey Young thrived at the college level and is even dominating in the NBA currently. But here's the thing, he's been dominating his whole life. In high school basketball, he just wasn't receiving the love. I don't know why, but everywhere he went, all the opposing teams were always hating on him. And that's normal, I get it, but recruiters were hating on him and so were NBA analysts at the time. And I remember it, he was in high school around 2015 and 2016 and I thought he was literally the next Steph Curry. A lot of people thought he wasn't going to make it just because he was short and didn't have that ideal build. And I have no idea why people thought this because look at Steph and Curry, they almost had the exact same body build. Trey Young was skinny at the time, but man, this dude could absolutely ball in high school. As just a sophomore for the 2014 through 15 season, he averaged 25 points. He also pitched in 4 rebounds and 5 assists. And there is no doubt in my mind that he was the best shooter in the country. And as a sophomore, he was the 2015 Oklahoma Sophomore of the Year. He was also the 2016 Oklahoma Player of the Year, and I could go on and on about his awards. In 2016, he averaged a remarkable 34.2 points per game, 4.6 assists, and 4.6 rebounds. And he led his team to a 24-4 record, which is pretty solid. And overall for his high school career, he put up some crazy stats. He had 2,445 points, 268 rebounds, and 365 assists, and 225 steals. So hey, that's not too shabby. And a main part and reason a lot of people were quote unquote hating on him was because of his body build. He was only roughly 6'2" and 170 pounds at the time. So a lot of people thought with that body, he didn't have the durability to finish an 82 game regular season. And everyone criticized him for not attacking the goal as much as he should be. People question his explosiveness and his ability to finish at the goal. And I'll admit it, Trey Young is a very reckless player, but so is Stephen Curry, but it's high risk, high reward. With that being said, a lot of people did criticize him on turnovers as well, but I think we can agree he definitely makes up for it. In high school though, he was regarded as a 5-star recruit and ranked the 23rd best overall player, which I think was almost disrespectful. In high school, he was easily a top 10 player without a doubt. And for those reasons right there, this is why Trey Young comes in at number 5 on our list. Coming in at number 4 on our list, we have a throwback and we have no other than Corey Sanders. Corey Sanders, man, where do I even start with this guy? This guy was a YouTube sensation at the time where there wasn't a lot of videos out there just yet. Growing up, he even had his own series on YouTube known as the Home Team Hoop series. And well, let's just say Corey Sanders isn't exactly the most humble person you will ever meet. He would cross you over, dunk on you, or even shoot a 3-pointer in your face and just straight up laugh at you. It was honestly a great and funny thing to see and I love the confidence. But when you do those type of things, you start to receive a lot of hate. And there's no in-betweens, you either love Corey Sanders or you hated him. And even though he was thriving in high school, putting up crazy numbers and even was a YouTube star, things exactly weren't always that great. Yes, he had many things going for him, but he also had a lot of critics and doubters as well. When it was all said and done for his high school basketball career, he was regarded as a 4-star recruit and ranked the 62nd best player in the country. And similar to Trey Young, he was listed at 6'2" and 170 pounds. And the reason I think a lot of people actually envied and hated this guy was because they were jealous of him and wanted to be him. Let's just be honest with ourselves, guys. How awesome would it be to have a camera following you around and just basically having your own TV show? It would be dope, so obviously people hated him for that reason. And almost at every game he played in, if he did a good move or anything, he would look for that camera and point at it, so a lot of people didn't really like that. And unfortunately, even though Trey Young made it, Corey Sanders has not made it just yet. And I really hate to say this, but maybe the haters and critics were right. Now yes, he was dominating at the high school level, no one questioned that. Where he received the hate and all that was because everyone said all that flashy stuff he's doing in high school won't advance to the next level. And they were completely right because it hasn't so far. Corey Sanders was the flashy type of player, but fundamentally he wasn't the best. He really struggled to have a great jump shot his entire high school career and it eventually caught up to him. So for those reasons right there, this is why Corey Sanders comes in at number 4 on our list. Coming in at number 3 on our list, we gotta use a current high school player, which is kind of surprising, but we have no other than Devon Johnson. Could we really have a most hated video without putting this guy in it? It just wouldn't be right. And a strong reason I believe that is because he has most hated tattooed on his legs. Here's the difference between this guy and the others. Whereas they didn't really ask for the hate, this guy actually embraces it and somewhat loves it. And just like he has tattooed on him, his slogan is most hated. Kind of like Trey Young though, he can actually back up his game. And here's one cool thing about him. He's in the class of 2022, so he's a young killer. And I only really feel like people quote unquote hate on this guy because he actually wants the hate, so they just give it to him. If you've been following with my channel, Devon Johnson has been in quite a bit videos as of recently. And the reason for that is because this guy loves to trash talk online. Whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Instagram stories, he always has something to say. And let's just say him, Mikey Williams, and some other big time players don't exactly get along. Recently, Devon Johnson called out and threw shots at Mikey Williams, and he threw them right back at him, so yeah, he obviously receives a ton of hate. Because Mikey Williams has a pretty big fan base, so if you hate on him, they're just gonna come attack you. We'll go back to the hate on this guy in a minute. Let's talk about his actual game. He's a 5-star recruit and one of the best players in the class of 2022. He's actually so good, he's actually thinking about reclassifying to the class of 2021, which is kind of interesting. And ever since he started playing basketball, he's been putting on an absolute show, so at least he can back up his trash talk. And he actually recently transferred to Oak Hill Academy and called out Mikey Williams and said they should play. So this guy is basically like Corey Sanders, but kind of worse because he does all of his trash talk online, but he does do it in the game as well. So therefore, since he does it online and in the games, this is why Devon Johnson comes in at number 3 on our list. Coming in at number 2 on our list, you guys know he was going to make the video. We have no other than LiAngelo Ball. LiAngelo Ball, man, I mean, where do we even start? Long story short, he's basically the washed up and unappreciated / disappointment of the Ball family. Those are some harsh words, but I feel like they're somewhat accurate. And for a high school player, I felt like he was heavily underlooked. As just a junior, he averaged 27.4 points per game. And as a senior, he averaged 33.8. And he was listed at roughly 6'5", and he was kind of built. Was he kind of chunky? Yeah, but he had a good body build. And trust me, I get it. He has a ton of haters, but hear me out. If you're averaging over 30 points per game, you can hoop. He got a lot of hate just because his dad was LeVar. And LeVar was always hyping him up, so it was almost impossible for him to even live up to those expectations. And I applaud LeVar for believing in him, but everyone knew LiAngelo wasn't going to be as good as LaMelo or Lonzo. So since LaMelo and Lonzo somehow unbelievably lived up to the hype, everyone took out all their anger and frustration on LiAngelo. Everyone was saying he was only scoring because he was at Chino Hills and they was playing in a crazy system. Yes, it was built for offensive type of players, but hey, he was still getting buckets. Unlike every other player in this video, all of his hate basically doesn't even come from him. It just comes from being LeVar's son. When he was in high school, everyone said he didn't have the right body build for the next level, wasn't fast enough or quick enough or anything like that. Was LiAngelo fundamentally sound? No, of course he wasn't, but he wasn't that bad. And oh yeah, we're basing this off of high school only, so whatever he does in college and the NBA, that really don't affect it or go into this video. But of course, as you guys know, yes, he did get in trouble at UCLA for stealing stuff from China, I believe. And yeah, ever since then, he got even more hate, and that didn't help his case at all. But we're not here to talk about that. For a guy that never really even trash talked or proclaimed to be great or even hype himself up and received this much hate, this is why he comes in at number 2 on our list. Now it's time, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. The number 1 most hated high school basketball player of all time. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 1 on our most hated high school basketball player list, we have no other than Julian Newman. Julian Newman, man, I don't even think it's close at all. This guy has to be the most hated high school basketball player of all time. And the crazy thing about this was that when he was younger, a lot of people actually loved him and supported him. But as he started getting older, just all the fans started slowly turning over to haters. And I think a big part of that actually had to do with himself. It really seemed as if he thought he was this big time recruit when he really wasn't, and he was getting cocky for no reason at all. And this is when everyone really turned against him and quit believing in the hype. I'm not a hater, I give credit where credit is due. Yes, he was a pretty solid basketball player all throughout his career. But however, this was just a prime and great example of a player hitting his peak way too early. He probably hit his peak when he was in 7th or 8th grade, which is crazy to even think about. And it really seemed like the older he got, the worse he got, which doesn't make sense at all. And the thing that really didn't help him was that he really didn't grow that much at all. And of course, when you're at the top, people are gonna try to hate on you, and that is exactly what happened. When he was younger, he was getting all of this crazy attention, and it made a lot of people target him. And when you got that target on your back, everyone's gonna give you their best shot. and he just failed to answer the bell and he let the hate get to him. And I mean this when I say it, I actually somewhat feel really bad for him. I think he received so much hate that he just didn't know how to handle it, so he just tried to get angry with it and deal with it that way. I don't think any high school basketball player or kid or anyone should get as much hate as he got. But when you try to get all that attention like his father did for him, it's going to happen. And a lot of his hate was generated by himself, but his father did bring in some as well. His father is basically a Dollar General version of LeVar Ball. At least LeVar Ball hypes up his kids and they're actually pretty decent. At the end of the day, Julian Newman is not that great of a basketball player. The truth hurts, and the truth is, he's just an average player. Is he bad? No, I wouldn't say he's bad. He's just average. If he was 6'5", we'd be talking about a whole different thing, but he is short. And I've even seen Julian's dad get on to him and say he has a terrible attitude, and his dad even hate on him. But hey, it is what it is, but I think it goes without a doubt and a question that Julian Newman is the most hated high school basketball player of all time. All 5 players on this list have one thing in common. They were all good high school basketball players. Some of them brought in the hate themselves, and some of the hate just came from other people. But in life, we can't have 100 heroes. We gotta have some villains, and I can definitely say that these guys were definitely the villains in high school. So yeah, man, like I said, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and let's aim for 1,000 likes for a part 2. But hey man, with all this being said, that's about gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family, hit that subscribe button, and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.